come out for fights when they know both the A side and the B side. Yeah? So, yes, a world title fight would be massive and super important for Josh, and it will come. And, maybe that will be the next fight. But if it was looking to my wishing well, you of course would say a British domestic blockbuster. There's only been 2 big pay-per-view fights in the UK this year. We were lucky enough to promote both of them. They were both domestic blockbusters, and Eubank Smith and then Smith Eubank too. So that and there you see the interest, and that's so important, especially with amazing what's happening in Saudi, this Day of Reckoning. Fantastic card. I cannot wait for that card. As a boxing fan, it's like walking into a toy shop as a kid. It's amazing what's going on there. But at the same time, it's also important for the sport that there's big events here. So, I mean that would be my Christmas wish. One of those big fights. I've said before, we could do a tournament. Throw them all in. But yeah, as a legacy part of his career, of course, becoming a world champion, would expect nothing less with someone of that amateur pedigree. Of everyone knows around that seat for so many years now what Josh Kelly can do.
And I guess if Josh does come through a Ben or a Eubank or a Brook, then that makes that world title fight all the bigger, doesn't it?
Absolutely. You could do it the other way around as well, of course. And when I was saying legacy around the world title fight, you'd also say that legacy is also those British domestic fights. Years to come, people will say, "Oh, do you remember the night? Where were you the night that Josh Kelly fought Chris Eubank Jr. or CONOR Benn?" So those of course are things that are on the to-do list.
Just on Eubank Jr., what are your thoughts on the reports that he may target the IBO champion rather than CONOR Benn?
Well, I can tell you, the CONOR Benn discussions unfortunately have ended. That fight commercially couldn't be made, and yesterday the IBO have ordered the mandatory, very tough 19-0 knockout specialist champion. So we'll be negotiating that now.
Can you give any insight as to why that fight hasn't been able to be made, or?
I can just put it down to commercial reasons. I'm not going to go into too much detail. I think I'll let others do that or not do that. But from our side, commercial reasons.
Do you think the British Border Control will grant Ben a licence to fight in the UK? Would that fight still be a consideration in the future?
I think that fight, is all going to be somewhere lingering. It will all depend on who wins, who loses in the future. Is there still interest in the fight? Does kind of stay at that weight? Does Eubank go up? But those things are for the future. And at the moment, it's all about what's next for Eubank for us, and that's not CONOR Benn. In terms of the British border, people said, "Oh, we're sanctioning the fight and stuff like this." Well, the fight didn't get made, and I was saying it 2 weeks ago. I said, "Well, let's handle that part. We can actually find a commercial agreement around the fight." But that didn't happen, so I didn't have to waste my time with the British Boxing Board.
What would have been the implications, do you think, for yourself had you made that fight without the British Boxing Border Control? I know it's sort of he said, she said in that regard, but
yeah, I mean we can all have a bit of speculation. I'm sure they would have loved it. They would have sent me loads of Christmas presents. That would be my answer to that.
Back to Josh Kelly, obviously back in Sunderland, his homecoming fight, expecting a really good crowd in Sunderland, hopefully looking towards a fight at the Stadium of Light one day. Yeah, I mean,
I was talking to Adam Booth about it before. For us Southerners, come up here in what is amazing about the North East, and whether it's Sunderland, whether it's Newcastle, haven't actually promoted in Middlesbrough ever, but it's just the talent is really, really good. Yeah, I mean it's like there's proper boxing talent in the North East from a very young age, and it's I'm just surprised there haven't been more world champions up here. And I think that's a little bit down to opportunities. I think that promoters have looked more to the south or to Manchester. But yeah, I mean, you know, I think it's such a fantastic part of the country for boxing. I think I've lost count of how many shows we've done in the North East in the last 12 months, but it's at least 3 shows, if not 4. So I look at it and I just think, like, this is a great place to do boxing because there's a genuine interest. You know, it's the week before Christmas. Let's face it, it's a tough time of year to find some money to go to boxing. Got 100 tickets left. Yeah, so we do that in London right now. Even with a big fight, I would like to promote in London this weekend. Not a chance. Everyone, Christmas parties, skint before Christmas budget. You know, got to get last money for the turkey on the table. Last thing you're thinking about is going to the boxing. So, you know, we're going to have a sold-out crowd in there Saturday night. It's not the stadium yet, but had it been the stadium in a world title fight, I'm pretty sure it would have been full as well. And that's something, you know, we talk about the football up here where it's, you know, the red and white or the black and white or, you know, or Middlesbrough. It's red and white as well. But now it's like religion and whatever. But but boxing's pretty. You know, I think it's all sports. You know, so it's there's a real love for watching their own people get out. You know, so yeah, look, it unfortunately will be the last time, probably in at least a year, that we'll see him. You never know in boxing, but to fight the world titles, you probably have to go into the Lions' dens, whether that's Australia for a Sioux or Las Vegas or wherever it is. And the British domestic blockbusters will probably be in football stadiums down south. You know, so it's it's going to be interesting because Josh hasn't been here in over 10 years. And I'm not going to say it's been another 10 years, but we're going to have to win that world title and come back here and defend that world title.
Absolutely. And finally, just on your shows and your promotional outfit, when is the next Misfits show and what can we expect from it?
Well, we'll be announcing that in the next few days. It will be in Leeds. We'll be on DAZN. And it will have a fantastic main event. New signing for Misfits. So watch this space, January 20th.
Brilliant, thank you.